Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Bolt City podcast. Dave Palet, Josh Palet, and Mario Heron. We're back with you. It's getting exciting again, guys, because we're sitting there, we're looking at all the moves and things that are starting to shape up around the NFL, and you get an idea of rosters. And then, of course, the draft is around the corner as well. So we're seeing teams that are making moves already where you can tell, are they going to try and be contenders in 2023, or are they just trying to sell tickets to the fan base to maybe get them exciting? And what I mean by that is like the Houston Texans, for example. They're just taking guys that you know their name, but no one that's going to make it. You know what I'm saying? Like today, the Texans signed Denzel Perryman as we do the show, and you're like, everybody knows who Denzel Perryman is. Played for the Raiders, played for the Chargers. Dude, he's not going to get you wins, but he's a name. And you're seeing other teams around the NFL that do the same thing. And then there are those teams that are making moves to say, we're going to make a run at the Super Bowl. And I kind of want to start a little bit, guys, on something we touched on last week, because according to Las Vegas odds, they're saying that the New York Jets, when they acquire Aaron Rodgers, that the Jets become a Super Bowl contender. And I had to think about it for a while and say, are they really a Super Bowl contender? Would you consider the New York Jets with Aaron Rodgers a team that you would say, man, I could pick the Super Bowl and I feel comfortable with that pick?
Yeah. If Aaron Rodgers goes to the Jets, which it looks like that's going to happen, they are a Super Bowl contender. But before we get into that, the word Super Bowl contender gets thrown around way too loosely. It's like every team is a Super Bowl contender. If you really think about it, there's only a handful of teams maybe that are Super Bowl contenders. The Jets with Aaron Rodgers, I actually do think are Super Bowl contenders because their defense is so good. And Aaron Rodgers has won 2 out of the last 3 MVPs. If he can play anywhere near that MVP level with the defense they had last season, on paper, they should be Super Bowl contenders. They're also in a pretty good division with the Patriots, who are, we don't know what they are. The Bills are obviously a really good team, and the Dolphins are a really good team. So it's not going to be an easy run to the Super Bowl. But if Aaron Rodgers plays well, they should be there.
I wouldn't go as far as Super Bowl contenders. I would say just conference contenders because the conference is just that good. Besides just their division with the Bills that they faced twice, who I'm going to be very, very low on heading to this year. Dolphins, who've improved with Jalen Ramsey. And then you have obviously the best coach in NFL history with a quarterback that I think sucks. Sorry, Bama, but he's dog poop, dude. He's terrible. So you still have them they have to face twice a year. That's at New England. That's going to be a very, very tough game. And then on top of that, by the way, you have a Justin Herbert. Yeah, you're going to have to go up against. You have Joe Burrow. You have to go up against. Like the talent in the West is just – I'm not in the West, dude. I am thinking NBA. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I threw about 10 NBA bets tonight, and they all start at 7, 7:30, and 8. So I'm sweating that out profusely, and it's been a tough one to get the head back around the football. So let's go back to the AFC. So there's so much talent in the AFC right now with Mahomes as well, and the Raiders, who are, let's be honest, still like pretty threatening, and the Broncos could be tough. So like when people say it's Super Bowl contenders, I'm like, no, because there's so much talent over there you're gonna have to get through. Let's just relax to they're conference contenders. Okay, they can make a run in the AFC, but can they take out Mahomes? Could they? Like, I don't know. Is Aaron Rodgers still good enough to take a receiving core that just got a little weaker today with Allen Lazard and Garrett Wilson's a hell of a player, but it's a very young guy. So that's, to me, it's like, let's not call them super contenders yet. They have a head coach that's good, not great. They have an offensive coordinator that we're not really sure of. So let's pump brakes and calling them, Super Bowl contenders. And let's pray that the Mavs freaking cover.
Okay. Here's a question for you guys, because if the Jets are Super Bowl contenders, to me, that means that they're a playoff team. I mean, you can't be a Super Bowl contender if you aren't a playoff team. Are the Jets number one a playoff team? And at the same point, are the Jets your pick as your favorite to win that division? You just fired through all of them. Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Patriots. Would you say the Jets are the favorite to win that division? In my mind, the Dolphins are the favorite to win that division.
Dolphins don't have a quarterback. Who's the quarterback?
Tua hasn't retired
yet. I mean, if you were to pick a starting quarterback, I'm not going to say I believe he's going to retire, but if you were to pick a starting quarterback who's most likely to not finish next season, who would you pick? We'd all pick the same person, right?
Yeah.
I can't put the Dolphins there if I have no idea who the quarterback's going to be. The Jets were the 4th best defense in the NFL last year. Do you realize that? The 4th best.
Oh, I do.
Aaron Rodgers wasn't great last year. Yeah, it's true. But they had
That
Zach
saying is
Wilson too
garbage. I hate
busy
that.
getting out bombs, and scoring touchdowns,
That's
scoring
true.
the wrong type of touchdowns.
Zach
Aaron
Wilson's
Rodgers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers, if he's anywhere near like he was 2 years ago, why would they not be a contender for the big game? Do you guys really not think that?
No, do you think they're going to win the division? Would you pick them to win the division? I mean, you're sitting there saying like Tua is not available. Now you brought up open a whole can of worms. You think the Dolphins
biggest
are going to go into the season without a quarterback?
I'm saying during the
Hunting's
season, there's an absolute chance he might not finish the season because of a head injury. And I really hope it doesn't happen. I'm a huge Tua fan. Nobody hopes it happens, but it could happen. What I'm saying is the two biggest choke artists are in the same division. Josh Allen, choke artist. Say whatever you want about Josh Allen. He's a choke artist. And Aaron Rodgers, absolute choke artist. So you never know what either one of them can do. So I could say that it's a 50-50, I'd say, between the Bills and the Jets.
I kind of agree with you, Josh. It's a 50-50 between the Bills and the Jets. I want to right away to say Dolphins. I really, really do, because I love the roster. I think they've gone all in. I think it looks beautiful. Howard on the other side, Ramsey on the other side. No one's going to be able to score on them. Like, that's going to be scary. Just on the other side of the football, is Tua going to be able to finish out a season? Like, is he? Like, that's just – it's a reasonable question to ask, and the answer is very hard to say. Like, is he going to be able to – do anything? Like, is he going to be able to play a full season? On the flip side of that, too, the Bills got worse this offseason. Okay, they lost Jermaine Edwards, one of the best linebackers in the league, and they lost him. And that's a very key part in their defense. They didn't really do anything to improve the receiving core. They're kind of a little quiet on the off-season free agency front. So it's like, okay, are we just going to get the same Bills team? And then we're going to rate this Bills team as high as we rated them the past 2 years? When are we going to let them come back to earth and go, hey, you're really just not that good of a team? You know, like maybe they're kind of like the Rockets with Harden and Chris Paul. Maybe you're just not that good, sweetheart. Maybe like you're a really good regular season team. When it comes to playoffs, I do not trust you. You know, like I trust 10 times more people than I would ever trust you. So for me, it's, yeah, like probably toss up between Jets and Bills, but I don't have that much faith in the Jets, to be honest with you. And I think that shows how much faith I have in the Bills, because I do think it's kind of a toss up, and it's between those two. Now, if you're going to tell me Tua is going to play for a whole season, Dolphins are by far have better odds to win that division.
Okay, so I don't want to spend a ton of time on this division, but now you guys have me thinking like crazy. So if you're the Dolphins and you just mentioned all the stars that they have, you didn't even go to the offensive side of the ball. I mean, 2-star running backs, 2-star wide receivers. Like if you're a football fan and you just like the skilled positions, the Miami Dolphins are the team to watch. I mean, it's pretty exciting. If you talk about jersey sales, which the NFL pushes all the time, you're going to go to games and see guys with all different numbers because they have that many stars that are skilled on that team. Dolphin, I'm going to give you 3 choices for quarterback, okay? And you tell me which one you think it's going to be this year, all right? Tua, someone in the draft to surprise you, somebody in the draft, or let's go back to the guy I mentioned 4 months ago. Do you guys remember who I said 4 months ago I thought would be the Miami Dolphins quarterback, which sounded like a huge reach at the time, but he's still there? It's Lamar Jackson. Now, there's no way the Dolphins are going into the season without a quarterback that has a potential of getting this done. That's ridiculous. It's like building a Ferrari and not putting a steering wheel on the car.
If the Dolphins somehow got Lamar Jackson, I would go as far as saying they're the favorite to win the Super Bowl. That's how good their roster is. But he's not there. So for the time being, I can't count on them. You cannot count on a guy who is one head injury away from retirement.
No.
How could you? We'd be crazy to do that.
Technically, I'm one head injury away from retirement.
Yeah, we know.
You know?
We know.
Yeah, you're 1 second away from retirement. Yeah.
So let's we got to get into the big story with Austin Ekeler. Mario, you want to tee it up?
Yeah, so this was a big debate in the group chat of Bold City that we have before shows, so it should be a good one, folks. So Austin Ekeler is an interview on the Green Light podcast with Chris Long. If you haven't heard of that podcast, go check it out. It's a very good podcast with Chris Long. Obviously, he played for the Eagles, Super Bowl champion, Patriots as well. And on the interview that Austin Ekeler did, he stopped by first off, very professional. Like, Ekeler sounded incredible. Like, that guy should be the CEO of some company someday. Like, that guy is prepped and smarter than all 3 of us, probably.
For sure.
Not hard.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
So on the pod, they were asking him about kind of free agency, about the Chargers, and kind of what he like wants. And basically, like what he said, this is a quote from the podcast again, the Greenlight podcast with Chris Long. He said, "I'm so underpaid right now as far as my contract. I want to contribute to his team. I'm relentlessly pursuing this. I want to get something long term done. I want a team that wants me long term. I'm at the peak of my game. I'm going to score you another 20 touchdowns. As long as I'm healthy, I'm going to score 20 touchdowns. I'm going to have 1,600 all-purpose yards. I'm getting half of my value of what I can be getting. So I'm relentlessly pursuing someone who wants me." And that was regarding everything about his free agency. Now, people that don't know, Ekeler is going to be on his last year of his contract in the 2023 season, and he is paid pretty cheaply. It's pretty cheap, It's like, it's like you got Rose marinara sauce, but you got it for the price of the Walmart Good Value brand. Like that's just what it is. So, Dave, I'll let you go first on this. Just your thoughts from the interview.
Yes.
And what you think of Ekeler said. He also made many hints of how the running back market is unfair because running backs just aren't getting paid for their value right now. He made a lot of comments about that. So, Dave, go off. Go. I'm not going to call you king because I don't agree with you.
No,
So
I know you
I'll
don't
call
agree with
you.
what I have to say.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so
So, yeah, I
here's
won't call you.
okay. Here you go. Here's the deal. The most important position, the highest paid position in the NFL is quarterback. We all know that it is hard to play quarterback. I mean, you look at how many people there are in the world, and realistically, there are 10 people on the planet that do a great job at it. Right? I mean, when we broke down our tiers last week, we had all three of us had the same top two guys, and then there was another tier. It's not like we had 10 guys in the top tier. We had Joe Burrow and we had Patrick Mahomes being one as the best quarterback in the world. Quarterbacks are the most important. You can sit there and make arguments as far as receivers and tight ends and left tackles and cornerbacks, all that stuff. But when it comes to running backs, when you have a great one, fantastic. But that is a short time to have that running back because the longevity in the NFL does not last long. The average NFL player plays 2.5 years. Austin Ekeler has already played longer than the average guy. Matter of fact, when they drafted Austin Ekeler, he wasn't even supposed to be what he's become. He's outplayed what they thought when they drafted him. You had Melvin Gordon. He was the star. He was the one that was making the money. I believe Melvin Gordon at the time when he left the Chargers was making $14 million a year. So here's where the issue happens, Mario, is it happens in youth football. And it's the moms that sit in the stands that go, look at my kid score all those touchdowns. And everybody wants their kid to play running back because he's going to get the ball. Because at the young age, everybody gives the ball to the running back, and that's how you win those games. In high school, often a running back can take your team all the way to the state championship. Seen it a million times. The deal is the guy who carries the ball that's a star in the neighborhood and everybody's talking about seeing your kids going pro, that is not the future to have a long career in the NFL. Jason Kelsey is going to have a longer career in the NFL, hiking a ball through his legs, playing center for the Philadelphia Eagles, and Austin Ekeler will for the Los Angeles Chargers than even Derrick Henry will have for the Tennessee Titans. It doesn't matter how good you are. So this is where NFL teams get in trouble. We talk about salary caps all the time in this league, and the problems of everyone who's over it or under it is that there are 6 guys on an NFL roster at their best that can be making money. That means everyone else is not making real money. Austin Ekeler wants to get paid as one of those 6 guys. If you're the Chargers and you look at his age and you're saying, man, he's getting closer to 30 than he gets to 25, which teams are smart by signing guys to a second contract? Well, we just saw what happened with the Dallas Cowboys. Ezekiel Elliott was the 4th overall pick in the draft. The Dallas Cowboys made a huge mistake and signed him to a second contract. And not only Ezekiel Elliott, not the best running back on his team last year, and Tony Pollard, they ended up having to release Ezekiel Elliott, and they're still stuck with $11 million on the books that, even though he's not on the roster, that they have to pay. So the Chargers, I give them credit on this. As much as I love Austin Ekeler, in 5 years, we won't be talking about Austin Ekeler. And you're going to go, why would you be stuck in a salary cap situation when you're overpaying for a guy that's not as productive as he was last year or the year before, or maybe next year? Because I do believe he'll have a great year next year. But in 2-3 years, you're going to get diminishing returns, and it's not worth the chance. That's why I feel the running back position, there's almost one on every corner. But go ahead. You can rip my head off all you want. Both of you guys.
You go, Mario.
Okay. So for the first thing I'll say is when it comes to like Austin Ekeler, the thing that pissed me off right away when it came to money and paying him and everything is, I've mentioned this a lot. If you're going to go all in, and this is the win now, you cannot tell me that he's not a part of the win now. He is a part of the win now. So if you want to
he's
win,
under contract.
yeah, he's on a contract and he can play out this full year. Like he can't do anything about it. Like no matter what, he's gonna play this year unless he gets traded. He's gonna play for the Chargers. But what I'm saying is, in this win now mode that we're in, that's probably more 2 years that you're in this window. You got it. He's a major part of that. He is a part of that. He is a part of the win now, and you can't go, hey, he's maybe part of this year, and we're gonna draft Robinson in the first round. And like you said, there's running backs on every corner. If you draft a running back in the first round, that guy better be Walter Payton on freaking steroids. Like he better be, and he better play for 15 years. Oh, that looks really freaking, I almost cussed. That looks really freaking stupid. Then you better go get a tight end. You better go get a receiver, an offensive lineman, or an edge rusher. Like those are the positions you go after in the first round. You do not go after running backs in the first round. If that was the true thing, then Jonathan Taylor would have been drafted in the first round. That's just the fact of it. He would be drafted.
You're right. The worst
10.
thing you could do is draft a running back in the first round. You're absolutely right.
Exactly. So my fear is that if we don't extend Ekeler, we're going to look at a running back in the first round because Robinson's such an exceptional talent. Then Tommy boy, you better listen here right now, buddy. You better make sure that guy has the body of Jesus Christ himself. That he can take every hit, that he can catch every ball.
Jesus did not have a Derrick Henry type body.
You weren't there, man. And then my other point too about like Austin Ekeler. And like you said, there's a running back on every block. And the examples you brought up was a Melvin Gordon, and you look at other guys and Ezekiel
Todd Gurley, who broke down.
Gurley. Okay, but like my point about Ekeler is that a lot of those running backs, like they were a traditional running back, right? Like they were a gap, freaking meet linebacker. I'm gonna meet you on the freaking chin, like please, like let's go. Those are the type. They're gonna go through you. Ekeler is this age running back. He's more than a running back. He is your receiver. And a lot of times this year, he was our second target. At the end of this year, our fourth best receiver. So my point about Ekeler is that, yeah, he is our running back, but he is so big in our passing game. And this past year, you cannot tell me that he wasn't our passing game for probably about, half the freaking season? That's just the fact of the matter that he was. So he's so much more than a running back, and his production is so much more than an average running back. That's why I think he needs to stay, and he's such a big part of our offense that he needs to stay. There's a reason why Tony Pollard's staying with the Cowboys. He is such a big part of the offense on the ground and through the air. So that's why I think like Ekeler, we got to get something done. And I agree with you on the running backs, find them at every corner, and like they have a quick expiration date. They get hurt quick, and they have a very short prime time. But to Eckler's point, I don't know a lot of guys in the NFL like treat their body better than him. He treats his body to a whole nother level. So those are just my points. Now, Josh, rip both sides. I just let me hear your thoughts, because right now I think if I could give myself a grade, I'd give myself about a 79.
I thought you did a great job. Yeah, it's passing. Okay. I mean, I agree with both of you guys. The only way I could say I'm okay with Austin Ekeler not being a Charger is if you can guarantee me they're going to get Bijan Robinson or Jahmyr Gibbs. But you can't. You cannot guarantee me they're going to get either one of those guys. And even if you could guarantee me you can get one of those guys, you still have no backup running back. You tell me Joshua Kelly and his 200 yards last season is going to get it done as a backup running back? Everybody knows if you're going to be a good team or a great team in the NFL, you need two running backs. The Chargers had one last year, and it was apparent. You need another guy to run the ball. As much as I love Austin Ekeler, he's not the best at running the football. I would consider more of a receiver almost, kind of like a Deebo Samuel. He was fourth in the league in receiving and catches last year. He had 107 receptions. I think he was 4 catches away from being third in the NFL, something ridiculous like that. I don't think him running between the tackles is great, but he's the best that we have. And Bijan Robinson's supposed to go before our pick, and Jahmyr Gibbs is supposed to go after. We still have huge holes on this team, huge on both sides of the line, especially defense. If you draft a running back in the first round, what are we going to do with our defensive line? We couldn't stop the running backs last year. So that's why I have a problem with it. There's too many holes on this team for a win-now team for you to just say, Austin Ekeler, go somewhere else. You can't tell me you're win now and you're going to let one of the best running backs in the league go. He's too much of an asset to Justin Herbert. He's the security blanket that he needs.
So again, he's under contract. For anyone who's freaking out, he's under contract. He's supposed to play in 2023 under the current deal he has. He's not happy. Now, when players aren't happy, a couple things can happen. One is either he can sit there and prove to everybody like Josh Jacobs did a year ago when the Raiders basically said, we aren't going to sign you to the deal you want. And Josh Jacobs ended up leading the league in rushing and had a fantastic year for the Raiders. Or you can sit there and go the route that Eric Dickerson pulled on the Rams, where he said, oh man, my hamstring's bothering me. I can't go. And the Rams were forced to trade him to the Colts. And, 3 days later, the hamstring injury is fine. And he's playing on Monday Night Football that week. And you're going, what the hell just happened? So you fake an injury. I'm not going to sit there and give myself a chance to fall apart because I'm going to be a free agent. Now, you hope Austin Ekeler sits there and says, I'm going to live up to my contract. I have something to prove, and I'm going to make somebody overpay for me a year from now. And if it's not with the Chargers, fine, but you're going to pay me. Austin Ekeler is upset because the Chargers have given him the opportunity to go out and seek a deal with another team. We used the word collusion on the show a week or 2 weeks ago when we said, let's see what happens with Lamar Jackson. And collusion is one of the hardest things to prove, but we all know how these NFL owners work together. The Haslam family messed things up with Deshaun Watson, as we spoke about, and that's what brought us to the conversation. The Lamar Jackson situation is ridiculous because it's exactly what we said was going to happen is happening with Lamar Jackson right now. Austin Ekeler, you cannot tell me it's the same damn thing. As good as Austin Ekeler is, and we said it a week ago, and we said it all year long, if you did a fantasy football draft right now, he's a top 10 pick. So how is it that none of the other NFL teams are saying there's a deal to be made for Austin Ekeler? Because all the owners are looking out for each other. There's major collusion going on right now. You have a chance to get one of the best players in the NFL in the red zone and getting you in the end zone to help you win a Super Bowl, and no one in the league is interested in Austin Ekeler. It's absolutely ridiculous. So for you're the Chargers, you're going, we got you under one more deal. If you want to walk away at the end of next year, or if we think you're worth something, we'll be one of the 32 teams that will make an offer for you. But otherwise, we expect you to play under the contract and give the best effort that you can possibly give. I understand his frustration level because if I was a pro athlete, I want to make enough money where I never have to do anything else again. I don't want to be waiting tables. I don't want to be selling insurance. I don't want to be doing other things. I played in the NFL. I gave my body. I shortened my lifespan giving it to this game, and that's what these guys do. But if you're Austin Ekeler and your career is over, let's say at age 31, and now all of a sudden you're looking for a job, you're going, how the hell did this happen? And so the amount of money he makes now, and let's assume he hasn't invested anything like his money has grown. Let's say it's just the amount of money he makes. Well, in California, he's getting a ton of money taken out for taxes. So the amount of money he gets is really less than half that. He's getting about 40% of his money. And it isn't enough money to retire on for him to say, hey, I'm just going to call it a career and you're going to see me on the golf course and hanging out with guys and showing up at functions and waving my hand and go, hey, there's former Charger Austin Ekeler. He's going to sit there and wonder, how am I going to survive? And basically, as these athletes always say, pay for generations in my family down the road. I want to pay for my kids down the road. They never have to worry about money. My grandkids never have to worry about money. You hear guys talk about that all the time. Austin Ekeler just has to worry about him and his immediate family with the amount of money he's made in this league, which is not a tremendous amount of money.
Here, Austin Ekeler is in a lose-lose situation. He's had 40 touchdowns. I'm not even making that up. Literally, he's had 40 touchdowns the last 2 seasons. He's going to be 28 years old going into this season. He's going to be 29 years old going into next season. Who is paying for that? There's nothing he can do for the Chargers. Yeah, nobody's going to pay for that. There's nothing he can do this year to surpass what he's done the last 2 years. 40 touchdowns. If he has 20 more touchdowns, Austin, you're amazing. You're going to be 29 years old. What's going to happen, buddy? Nobody. I feel bad for him. I love Austin Ekeler, but he's in a lose-lose situation.
Yeah, he is in a lose-lose. If this was 2 years earlier, or if he was just 26, I think he'd be obviously in a much different situation. Yep. I think the other hard thing is like Dave, you brought up the Eric Dickerson comparison, and the thing too about that time is running backs were like a quarterback at that time.
Yeah,
like they were king. So like you could pull that move, and the owners, the GMs, they have to bend a knee. Well, now they're not. We saw last offseason the team that probably treats linebackers the best than any other franchise in the Chicago Bears go silent on Roquan Smith and go, we'll wait you out the whole training camp. You don't want to fine, and then we're seeing right now with Lamar where the Ravens are going, no, this is where we value at. This is where the whole league values at.
Yep.
Like it's a moment where the owners are really going, if like you said, it is collusion. Like it's, if you want to see your value, but we're right on this. And there's no one else that wants this to happen. Cause then if you go up, a lot of other guys go up with you, and then it's a huge problem. And, we're waiting for this big TV deal to increase, and then maybe we'll think about it. And really, that's just all bullcrap, and they're just going to continue to underpay. I think for Ekeler, it's just be paid more than guys you're better than. Like Austin Ekeler, for people that don't know, gets paid less than James Conner, Alvin Kamara, who's probably under how many investigations by now? Let's just say, who knows? When's the last time we've seen that guy on a red zone make a pretty good highlight plays? Probably not very much, because he's only had 6 rushing touchdowns in the past 2 seasons.
Well, look at the money he makes compared to Michael Thomas. I mean, it's not even close.
Not even close.
He's way underpaid for what he does.
David Montgomery makes more money than him, and he got outplayed by his backup this past year.
Yeah. And
then he's going to split time with DeAndre Swift. Like if I'm Austin Ekeler, I saw something that they're like he would want around $12 million a year. That seems a little steep. I think if he just got around 8, then you're fine. And I understand, like you said, you want generational wealth of money because you're putting everything on that. Well, you're going to be in LA, dude. Maximize being in LA. Maximize it. Maximize it to a T. You're a great guy. You're great on media. Hop on the Bolt City podcast. Like, do some media, man. Like, do that, and that's how you maximize your money.
See, I wonder if that even works for Austin Ekeler in LA. I mean, there's so many stars in Los Angeles, and Josh and I always, we'll play this game once a year. We'll say, hey, write out a list of the top 10 athletes in LA right now. And then you're sitting there going, okay, we'll start with LeBron James. Okay. But then you got to go to just in baseball. You go with Ohtani, and you go with Trout, and you go Mookie Betts, and you go Clayton Kershaw, and you're going through all these guys that are huge stars. You're going Justin Herbert. You're going the guys that the Aaron Donald. You're going guys like that. You're going Kawhi Leonard and all these guys. Paul George. Not even talking soccer guys or hockey guys. I wonder Austin Ekeler, if he were to walk through Hollywood, how quickly he would get stopped. And that's what the NFL has kind of created. Yeah. The NFL has created the whole idea of not taking your helmet off on the field. Has been the NFL is always selling the logo. The NFL doesn't want individual stars. It's hard to do it when you're a quarterback to keep those guys quiet from who they are, but it is tough to recognize a lot of guys in the NFL when they're just walking around in their street clothes. And I wonder in LA how quickly Austin Ekeler would get recognized. Like, Josh, I'll ask you, Austin Ekeler walking around LA, Josh recognizes everybody, so I know he would get him. Outside of his physique, I don't know how quickly I'd recognize Austin Ekeler.
You wouldn't, especially in LA where there's so many people that are considered more famous than Austin Ekeler. You would never recognize him. And to go to your point about how running backs are a commodity, let me ask you guys a question. Which Super Bowl team, what was the last Super Bowl team to have a running back that had 10 plus touchdowns?
Do you know the answer?
I know the answer.
Okay, I just want to make sure you weren't throwing something crazy out there, and it was last year.
I'll let you think about it. What do you think?
That's a good question.
Ravens?
This is a while back.
Ravens.
2013 Seahawks with Marshawn Lynch when they won the 2014 Super Bowl.
Wow, 10 years ago.
10 years ago. It just does not happen, dude.
No.
Yeah.
And again, Todd Gurley won an MVP award, and the next year his career was over. He went from MVP to out of the league, basically. And it's so quickly for him. Look, Austin Eckler's a good dude. I don't think there's any of the three of us are wishing nothing but the best for Austin Ekeler. I just don't think the money is going to be out there. And again, it goes back to, for me, Mario, it goes back to what I said at the beginning. I think really it's the worst position to play overall if you're saying I want to be a football player, to have longevity and make the most money.
We need to circle back, put a pin in the top 10 guys that would get recognized walking down the street, by the way. That's gonna be a big pin for later, because you listed about 3 names off right there. I was thinking no shot, dude.
So go ahead, throw them out there.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah,
dude,
where you going?
Okay, I'll tell you where I'm going, dude. Clayton Kershaw. No one That's not a lot of people. And Mike Trout, dude, I don't think. No shot. I remember having a friend. I think I told you the story. I remember having a friend that saw Mike Trout in an airport. And he was not even it took me like an hour before I realized that's Mike Trout. And no one even batted an eye. Like it was
Which airport was it? Which airport?
I'm not gonna say because then that might defeat.
Was it in no, but was it in yeah, that's what I'm saying. In Southern California, I'm telling you, Mike Trout couldn't walk into a Starbucks.
Okay, so and you tell me Clayton Kershaw couldn't either.
No
Over a starting
Clayton Kershaw is gonna have a statue in front of Dodger Stadium. Yeah, no, Clayton Kershaw is a huge star.
That's interesting to me.
Yeah.
Maybe that's me growing up different.
I think I can name five athletes in LA that would be recognized in front of Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah. Oh, right? Thank you, Josh. That's what I'm saying.
I'll name
five,
them.
Dude.
Yeah, I'll name 5 guys I think are recognized more than Clayton Kershaw. You tell me if you agree or disagree. All right, LeBron.
Obviously,
yeah, LeBron's number one.
Obviously,
LeBron. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Anthony Davis, 7 feet tall. Everybody knows Anthony Davis.
And he has one eyebrow.
Beast.
Kawhi Leonard. You're gonna recognize Kawhi Leonard. He's also 6'8".
Hands.
Yeah, Paul George gets recognized in front of him as well. Clayton Kershaw, right?
Yeah.
And Aaron Donald. Everybody knows who Aaron Donald is. That's 5 guys right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that 5. You could argue Russell Westbrook too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like he's such a popular name.
Yeah, well, he is. Went to UCLA, the whole deal. So, I mean, Russell Westbrook has been around Southern California forever. But, yeah, as far as star power goes, I mean, they're even. I mean,
Cooper Kupp, the best receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp. I didn't even name him in the top 10. But Ohtani, best baseball player in the world. I mean, come on, 6'5". Ohtani's big dude. You're gonna recognize Ohtani. I don't know. As I said, there's so many of them. It's unlike any other city in the United States. And again, we haven't even gotten to the hockey fans or the soccer fans. So there are 2 hockey teams here and 2 soccer teams here. And you aren't even talking USC. I mean, they have the number 1 football player in the nation. You got Caleb Williams right there too.
Caleb Williams, another one. Yeah.
Well, we dropped the ball on Caleb. You could also put the full LA Galaxy team in my apartment, and I could hang out with them for about 3 hours.
Dude, you'd fit right in. People would think you played.
I would just be hanging out. I'd be like, what do you guys do for a living? Play soccer? Sure, dude.
Play soccer too. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So can you gamble or not?
Oh my God, dude, that's too damn funny. Anyway, man. Again, going back to Ekeler, just wrap it up. I hope Ekeler gets what he wants, and I think he's the kind of human being. I don't know him personally, but I think he's the kind of guy you're going to get the best from Austin Ekeler. I think he's going to go with the Josh Jacobs attitude, not the Eric Dickerson attitude in 2023. He has something to prove, and he might get the best year ever from Austin Ekeler. I don't think he's going to be the guy that says, man, I'm not going to risk not playing if I'm going to get hurt. It is disappointing, this collusion thing. We all agree it's out there. I mean, the Browns are the only one team in the league that doesn't play the game. As we talk about collusion, I just want to bring up, as Mario was talking, it jumped into my head. Here's the one team that should make a crazy offer for Lamar Jackson. And I can't believe it hasn't happened. I can't believe I haven't thought about it. How have the Pittsburgh Steelers not jumped in and gone after Lamar Jackson? Think about it. There's a huge rivalry between the 2 teams. Pittsburgh doesn't have a quarterback. Kenny Pickett's a joke. And the offense has been a joke for the Steelers. They put more money into their defense than any team in the history of the league a year ago. It didn't work out for them. How did the Pittsburgh Steelers either you get them and you're going, we now have Lamar Jackson, and that kills the Ravens who love him, the fan base meaning, or you put the Ravens into a corner where you're going, holy cow, we can't let them go to the Steelers. It's going to kill our fan base, and we're going to salary cap strap the Ravens for years to come. I mean, it seems like the Steelers are blowing a golden opportunity to completely screw the Ravens over. How is this not happening?
That'd be the ultimate chess move.
Right?
I'm upset I never thought of that. Yeah. It's a really good idea.
I can't believe it only took us 5 months to figure this out. But somebody call Pittsburgh. They haven't figured it out.
Yeah.
No.
But think about it. If you're a Ravens fan,
bunch of idiots.
Tiny hands. Yeah. No, I'm telling you. But am I wrong on this, guys? That Lamar Jackson, if the Steelers were the team that said, hey, we're the team that's going to make that offer, holy cow, man, the Ravens are stuck. You have no choice but to sign him. You cannot let him go to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
or
Absolutely.
you really put a big asking price for it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Or you're
But
like
still
if you're the Ravens, you do that. You're like, I want 2 firsts and I want this and this. I want Pickett too. I don't know.
And so go ahead. You can have Pickett. Go
Yeah.
ahead. What's he
That's
gonna
a
do?
that's the worst insult I ever got. Some guy came to my apartment to fix my dishwasher and he goes, "You related to Kenny Pickett?"
Oh no.
And I was like, "Dude, my lord." Not even freaking. No, I'm sorry. His exact words was, "Anyone tell you look like Kenny Pickett?" I was like, "No."
Tell him get the hell out of here.
Well, I was like, "Why don't you shut up and fix my dishwasher?" It's been 2 months. Bum.
All right. So, oh my God. So look, we have a short time left. We have about 10 minutes left in the show. Mario came up with an idea of an overrated list, right? We'll put a list together, top 10 most top 10 most hated guys for us in the NFL. Is that what we're doing?
I thought it was just Dave's top 10.
Oh, I'm the only one doing it? All right. I'll let you guys.
Is
I'm
that
pretty
what
sure
you
it was
thought,
my idea.
Josh?
Pretty sure it's my idea, but it's fine.
Okay.
That's all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm the
'cause you're the
only one
angriest
doing
guy
it?
on the show.
Yeah, maybe
angry.
you are close to retirement because it was definitely said multiple times. It's just your top 10 hated.
Oh, okay, fine. We'll put me on the chopping block. I like when the show always goes
Yeah.
this route anyway. All right. So I'm going to knock out my top 10 here. Okay. And do you guys
Can't
want
wait for
me
this.
to finish the list or you want to stop me as I go on? How are you guys going to go about this?
2 and stop.
Yeah.
You tell me.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
go
right,
two
and
at
stop.
2 at a time. 2 at a time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go from 10
This is
down
in
to
order,
1.
by the way.
Yeah, 10
This
down to
is in
1.
order. 10 guys in the league that I can't stand. All right. Who I dislike. Okay. I don't want to say can't stand is a big word. Who I dislike. Number 1, I hate to say it, he wears a
No,
Charger uniform.
Number 10.
Number 10. I mean,
It's
number
10.
10.
We're starting you at
Number-
10, dude.
Okay, 10. All right, here we go. All right, Casey Kasem. Here we go. Number 10. He wears a Charger uniform. It's Joey Bosa. This is my number 10. Okay.
Probably higher.
And so you thought he would be on the list? You knew all along he was one of the guys?
I thought he'd be top 5.
Okay. No.
Same.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
No, he's not. And if he wasn't wearing a Charger uniform, he'd be top 5. There's so many things I dislike about Joey. I hate to say the attitude. He just I almost used a word I shouldn't have said, but he does everything wrong. He just does everything wrong, man. There's nothing that Joey does. I go, all right, Joey. I mean, like a punishment on this show should be you got to buy a Joey Bosa jersey. That's how I feel. The fact that Joey Bosa came out and said while he's still under contract with the Chargers, he'd like to play with Nick up in San Francisco. Damn, man. You know, are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
I mean, God dang.
Yeah.
Does he wear a mask when he picks up his paycheck? Because he is stealing money, this guy. It is absolutely ridiculous that he gave the Chargers zero effort last year until they were a playoff team, and then he screwed the playoffs up for us anyway. But Joey Bosa to sit there and all this 49er stuff, give me a break. Joey Bosa is number 10 for me, okay? I should move him up right now.
Before you go, when you said the mask part, I was staring at the time to remove that because I thought a political joke was coming. I was like, that's going to be a big move off.
No, like he was robbing a bank. All right, number 9, Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is my number 9. You know what? He's a guy that don't sit there and wrinkle your eyebrows at me, Mario. I'm telling you right now. Kirk Cousins is a mess. He never plays big in a big game. He's always the guy that goes, me first, man. The COVID thing, people can say whatever they want, man. I'm such a team guy that if 52 guys are on board and I'm the one guy that's not, and I'm the quarterback, it's one of those. He screwed over the Vikings organization. He never wins a big game. He can't win a primetime game. He can't sit there and advance the team to the playoffs. He's a guy that will end up like Vinny Testaverde with great stats with no trophies in his trophy case. Complete overrated guy, and whatever he thinks of himself, Kirk Cousins, he's worthless to me. Absolutely worthless. Just a guy that's going to make a ton of money in this league. Okay. Number 8 is Aaron Rodgers. Everything about Aaron, red light Aaron, who always turn the camera off, but I'm over here. Give me a break. Aaron Rodgers is always Mr. Camera Guy, always acts like he's always been put out. Can't have a relationship with a girl or anybody in his family. Everybody dates and everybody he's related to, he has zero relationship with. It's always something. I mean, the only person he gets along with on the planet is Pat McAfee. Aaron Rodgers is a pain. The guy has more talent than anyone I've ever seen. He's the most accurate passer I've ever seen. He's fun to watch. And every time you think you want to root for the guy, he does something stupid that you sit there and go, man, I knew there was a reason why I hated you. And he underachieves all the time. One Super Bowl win on his resume, disappointing. just like Brett Favre. Brett Favre should have had more than one Super Bowl win. I was at the Super Bowl where Brett Favre's team was favored by 14 against the Broncos and lost. Freaking joke. Okay. Aaron Rodgers is ridiculous. Good luck to him when his football career is over. Red light Aaron, enough. All right.
Let me throw you
Number
a quick
7
lob right there.
Yes.
Quick lob too. Absolutely, he can shut his freaking mouth complaining about journalists. Hey, you idiot. When a journalist texts you and asks you about a comment on your story, and then you say, lose my number, that's where the issue is, numbnuts.
Yeah.
That's the issue. When you say that, they're going to go forward with the freaking story because you have confirmed sources. So if you're this smart genius kid who can't freaking figure out a vaccine or anything else in your freaking life, then how about you go to journalism school, look up those freaking rules real quick and figure that out. Can't stand that freaking guy. He's
for people who don't know, for people who don't understand what Mario's saying, Adam Schefter's the one who he said to lose my number 2.
Yeah.
And it is funny. It bothers me, by the way, that Joe Namath has said he can wear my number 12. Yeah, come on, Joe. Broadway Joe, come on.
Pride.
What are you doing? Make him pick a different number. He didn't wear number 12 in college. Make him wear a different number. To sit there and give your number up is ridiculous. Number 7, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray looks like he looks a little unusual. Looks like he was born on 3 Mile Island. I don't know. I can't figure out his build, but at the same time, he's a punk. Okay. Kyler Murray, and look, I'm not body shaming, but man, every time I look at Kyler Murray, I'm trying to figure out exactly what's going on here. Yeah, I am. Okay.
That's
but he's one of those guys.
Body shaming.
That's true. I was trying to just get away with it, but you guys stopped me. But dude, he has that weird body where his torso is as long as his legs. You know what I'm saying? It's like cut right in the middle. It's like when a third grader draws a picture and you're like, what the hell's the deal with that body? It's kind of weird. That's the way Kyler Murray is. And he's short, throws a great spiral. I got it. He's a punk. He's a coach killer. And he's a guy where they surround him with talent, and yet he does nothing with it. And a matter of fact, he becomes the biggest cancer in the organization. Kyler Murray still hasn't figured it out. And for me, I'm one of those guys that he's a perfect example of everyone telling you how great you are since you were 14 years old and you can't read a room of exactly what really is happening. I got news for you, Kyler. Whatever that scoreboard says, that's actually the truth. And that scoreboard has not been in your favor basically since you have gotten to the NFL. And you want to be treated like you're a supreme football player. You aren't. You should be, but you aren't. You can run like no other. You throw a beautiful pass, but you're a punk, man. You're killing that organization. And the Cardinals will figure it out hopefully one day and just cut ties with them. But right now, Kyler Murray has all the talent in the world, doesn't get the most out of it. Disagree or agree with Kyler Murray?
100% agree. Big time.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if I would put him ahead of Rodgers or keep going, but him ahead of Rodgers.
Okay. Well, the thing with Aaron Rodgers, he does have a Super Bowl win. So he's proven he can win, and he's won a bunch of MVP awards. Okay. Next guy on the list. This is going to drive Mario crazy. But, man, he overrated as can be. Most overrated guy in the NFL by far, and I think your Bears are making a huge mistake. It's Justin Fields.
Shut up, dude. Shut up and freaking drop it, dude. God.
This is my list, okay?
It's getting cut.
Justin Fields, the Bears made a huge mistake. You're going to look back at this draft and going, what were we doing? We had a choice of Stroud or Bryce Young or anyone else we could have got. Or we maybe even traded the pick for a veteran quarterback, but we didn't do it. We said Justin Fields is our guy. And the Bears have done a fantastic job with their GM of figuring out their draft picks and getting guys in order and bringing guys in. And the Bears are trying to fix things in a hurry, and applause all the way around to what the Bears have done so far. The problem is the most important position is Justin Fields, who to me is unproven. He's had one good game his entire life, and that was against Clemson in the semifinal game. But then when he got to the championship game, the guy that Mario ripped on, Mac Jones, beat the hell out of him and embarrassed him. So Justin Fields was a joke at Georgia. He ran because things got a little bit tough, goes to Ohio State, plays in an easy conference, absolute overrated as can be, and goes to the Bears, and all he can do is run like he's playing tag with the kids in the street.
Exactly.
Cannot throw at all. If I sat in a goddamn Duncan booth at the state fair, I would be dry when I got out because Justin Fields couldn't dunk me. Couldn't hit the freaking target from 15 feet away.
Fit in it, fat ass. I'm just saying, if he ran for competition in Georgia, I wonder what Joe Burrow did at Ohio State.
Joe Burrow didn't get a chance. He didn't get a chance.
Okay, and then you didn't watch Monday Night Football 2021 Bears versus Steelers either, so you didn't watch that one. But keep going with your list. It really sounds good right now.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was looking for Justin in the playoffs last year, but I couldn't find it on my TV. I guess I didn't pay for the right package.
Yeah, because that was gonna freaking happen with that piss poor assembled organization.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see what Justin does. We'll see him in Canton, Ohio. Okay, when he gets his gold jacket and his bust, I'll pay for your ticket.
I'll
Number
pay
5.
for you. I'll pay for your ticket, and I'll say that he has dementia, and we need a Make-A-Wish thing, and you
Oh
can
boy!
be freaking
Oh
behind
boy!
him.
Oh boy!
Oh my
Oh
god.
boy! Oh boy! Why don't you concentrate on the Mavs covering right now? Let's take a step back. All right, here we go. Number 5, Ezekiel Elliott. Never been a Zeke fan either. Another Ohio State guy that came into the league, all the ability in the world. Ezekiel Elliott got the big head, and the Cowboys fell for it. Jerry Jones gave him a second contract, basically handcuffed the organization. Ezekiel Elliott's always been one of my least favorite guys. And again, not an Ezekiel Elliott fan, a guy that he thought would be in the Hall of Fame. He's going to be a guy that people forget about. Ezekiel Elliott's not even in the top 5 of the best Dallas Cowboy running backs of all time. Number 4, Russell Wilson. Okay, Russell Wilson's on my list. I don't know what happened to Russell Wilson. A year ago at this time, I hate to tell you, I was a Russell Wilson fan. I thought Russell Wilson was an amazing story. North Carolina State, Wisconsin, changes schools to help his chance of being an NFL quarterback, goes to Seattle. And at the time he went to Seattle, he wasn't supposed to be the starting quarterback there. Remember, Seattle went and signed Matt Flynn for all that money. Till he had one good game for the Packers, and Seattle went and paid Matt Flynn all that money. And Russell Wilson comes out of nowhere, earns the starting job, and he goes to a Super Bowl. And then he goes to another Super Bowl, throws the crazy-ass interception against the Patriots. All they had to do is hand the ball off to Marshawn Lynch. But because the offensive coordinator didn't want Marshawn to be the star, he wanted Russell Wilson to have all the accolades. How can you mess up a slant pass? I don't know. Watch this. Hold my beer. Russell Wilson did. And Seattle doesn't win the Super Bowl. And Seattle hasn't been back to the Super Bowl since. The organization has completely fallen back. Pete Carroll, by the way, screwed up 2 major things. He'd be on my list right now, too. Pete Carroll against Texas, when he was coaching at USC, you had the Heisman Trophy winner, Reggie Bush, and you had him on the sideline on a 4th and 1, most important play of the game. Whether you're going to give him the ball at night, at least he's a threat when he's on the field. Pete Carroll decides not to put him on the field, and then Russell Wilson, he lets that thing go where he's wearing a headset and knows that, hey, we are not going to give the ball to Marshawn Lynch when he just ran for 5 yards 30 seconds ago. And you for 1 more yard, you're going to say Russell Wilson's the guy. Russell Wilson's the same guy. He's red light Russell. Can't get in front of the camera enough. He says crazy things. Tua thinks something's wrong with Russell's brain because I can't figure out any of the things Russell said in the last 365 days. Okay, that's number 4. Third one's only going to make sense to Josh and me. It won't make sense to you, Mario. But for Josh and I, we've never been a fan of this guy since he was at Oregon. It's Kayvon Thibodeau for the New York Giants, defensive end. He's an idiot. He's the guy that got into the huge argument with God dang, I just drew a blank. Maybe I'm the guy who has brain problems with the quarterback from Alabama, the guy who's a broadcaster from ESPN. About
Greg McElroy.
Dumb Greg McElroy. Greg McElroy played in the NFL also and won a national championship, calling out his education when Greg McElroy is considered a genius, actually extremely smart guy. And yet Thibodeau is sitting there going to call out someone else on how smart they are. Then Thibodeau is the guy who's sitting there doing snow angels next to a lifeless body on the field, clueless of what's going on. Then he goes to the sideline when he realizes a player is injured on the field, and NFL players is a fraternity. You're supposed to look out for those guys. Does the go to sleep sign. I mean, clueless to everything he does. Kayvon Thibodeau is the king of making bad decisions in front of a camera. Number 2 on the list, Deshaun Watson. And man, I don't even have to say anymore. I mean, everyone knows about Deshaun Watson. The Browns are bigger idiots than Deshaun Watson for giving him the money. Deshaun Watson's a complete embarrassment. And up until what happened or what came to light a few years ago, Deshaun Watson was a guy that lived a dream life. Quarterback in the NFL, was clutch. Won national championship at Clemson. There was everything about Deshaun Watson was great until it wasn't. And not only wasn't it, he affected other people's lives. Deshaun Watson's a bad dude. Wish nothing but the worst for Deshaun Watson. I hope he never figures it out, never comes back to what he was with the Texans. I hope he continues to struggle with the Browns, and they waste that money in the $230 million guaranteed contract. Number 1 on the list of the guy in the NFL I just like the most, and he's extremely talented.
Can we guess?
Go ahead. I do. 100% want you to guess. I don't think
Josh,
you're going to get it, Mario.
Tyreek Hill.
You want to guess, Mario?
What offense or defense out of the ball?
It's offense.
All right, so it's most.
I know my dad, so I already know who it's going to be.
You think it's Tyreek Hill?
He cannot stand him.
I want to go different so bad. I'll go like a different guy. I'll say you you really dislike Stafford.
Hold on.
Oh, no,
before
not Stafford.
before he answers the question, he loves Stafford. Before he says it, he has always been consistent on guys that hit women or kids, you know. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was Tyreek Hill or Joe Mixon or Kareem Hunt or any of those guys.
Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, or one of them.
No, Josh is right. It's Tyreek Hill. It's Tyreek Hill by far. And again, he's one of the most talented guys in the league. And if Mario, if you knew me, better, obviously we're friends. We say Mario's family to Josh and me. But man, Josh's 100% right. I have no time for people who I feel can't defend themselves. And for me, when a professional athlete especially hits a woman and he punched a pregnant woman in the stomach, you're the worst human being on the planet. You touch a kid, you're the worst human being on the planet. I mean, those are one of those where I would like a chance, to pay back. It disgusts me. I know you guys feel the same way. It's absolutely ridiculous to take advantage of someone who can't defend themselves, especially a pregnant woman. My opinion, and Mario, just guessing you and knowing the kind of person you are, there's nothing better on this planet than moms. And so, so when for me, moms are at a different level, and that's why Mother's Day is always important to me. Moms at a different level. Moms are the only people on the planet that will put their lives in front of your life. And so when Tyreek Hill pulled that move, and the fact he still wears an NFL uniform disgusts me. Josh is 100% right. It's not even close. Everyone on this list is so distant compared to Tyreek Hill. That's just where I'm at. So Tyreek Hill is my most hated guy in the NFL. Okay,
so let me talk about your list. I have 6 guys that I agree with on your list that would absolutely be in my top 10. Okay,
yeah. Justin Aaron Rodgers to get a rise out of Mario. I just want to see him freak out. Go ahead.
Aaron Rodgers. He's in my top 3. Cannot stand Aaron Rodgers. Kyler Murray in my top 5. Russell Wilson, top 5. Kayvon Thibodeau, and top 5. Deshaun Watson's in the top 10. And then Tyreek's in the top 5. So my top 5's right there, actually. I cannot stand those guys, dude. Especially, like you said, people that take advantage of people that can't defend themselves, like women and children. You're the worst. You're the worst. And Deshaun Watson's thing's disgusting. Like, I can't even root for the Browns after he leaves the team because they have no morals. So that's how I feel about him.
Yeah, the Haslam family is disgusting. Haslam family is the one trying to buy the Milwaukee Bucks right now, right?
Really?
Same thing. Yeah, the Bucks. I think the Haslam family is trying to buy the Bucks right now for like $2.5 billion.
The underrated guy on there, I think, was it's got to be Ezekiel Elliott. Very underrated. I think maybe it's just Cowboys, played for the Cowboys, and Jerry Jones liked him so much. There's something about that. When Jerry Jones pumps you up a lot, that I tend to dislike.
So speaking of that right there, don't you think Jerry Jones and there's a major disservice that you have an owner that falls in love with his players? Meaning like the money he gave Dak Prescott. I understand there's not like you have a bunch of other options out there, but to go, I'm going to commit $15 million a year to Dak. And he messed that contract up. He could have had him for cheaper if we would have done it a year or so earlier. But the fact that he fell in love with Ezekiel Elliott and gave him a second contract really has handcuffed the Cowboys. I mean, good. I can't stand the Cowboys, but it's one of those things I think we've talked about on the show. If you're a GM, how much interaction would you have with the player after you drafted them? Because does it cloud your judgment? And for Jerry Jones, it definitely clouds his judgment because he falls in love with certain guys on the team.
Couldn't agree more. You know what's shocking about your list also is you only have one receiver in your top 10. Usually receivers are the most hated position. Granted, it's the number one player, but yeah, Terrell Owens back in the day would have been your number one. There's a number of receivers that are so annoying.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of guys that put themselves over the team, and most I know receivers do. And I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is a hell of a player, but he's a guy too that I understand it's an ego thing. You got to talk yourself up to why you're great. You're going against guys like Jalen Ramsey, right? You got to talk yourself up to why you're great, and you're the furthest away from the ball. So it's kind of like really being on an island. They talk about the cornerback being on an island, the receivers on an island too. There's some receivers out there that they aren't those guys. Like, Stephon Diggs is not known as a punk, right? But he's one of the best receivers in the league. Cooper Kupp's known as a hardworking guy, not a guy that is known as a punk. There are receivers out in the NFL that you don't look at as, man, that guy's a problem. But anyway, it's funny when I look at the list and I go, how many quarterbacks did I name? I'd say Cousins, Rodgers, Fields was a joke. Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson. Those were how many quarterbacks I named out of
Kyler Murray.
that list there.
Y-
And Kyler
Kyler
Murray.
Murray.
You're right. Kyler Murray. Sorry.
We just
So-
missed the biggest one, by the way.
Who did I miss? Who did I miss that you would have named that I should have on that list?
Juju.
Oh, you hate
Oh,
Yeah,
I do
we
too.
missed Juju. Yeah, I can't
Antonio
stand
Brown
Juju.
would have been in my top 3, by the way, if Antonio Brown was still playing.
Oh, 100% with you on
for
that.
sure.
Yeah.
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 Damn,
Scumbag.
how did I forget Juju?
Yeah.
Dude,
Juju.
Jackson Mahomes, my least favorite non-football player related to the NFL. Top 10.
So, okay, right now, let's stay in the AFC West, okay, as we wrap up the show. The Chiefs just won a Super Bowl. They lose Juju, and they lose Hardman today to the Jets. If you're Mahomes, are you freaking out, or you're like, we're going to be fine? Those guys are just guys. Just give me the next 2 guys.
100%, dude.
Right?
Are you concerned about
It's
losing
the
Juju
latter.
Smith-Schuster? Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. Dude, he's like, I'm so good. You can throw Jackson out there at receiver. We'll be fine. Yeah.
Juju sucks. Juju's not good.
Yeah.
Juju's terrible. He's like he's a revolving door.
I
We got
agree
him a
with
ring. Yeah.
I agree with you. And you're right. Mahomes is so good that you just go, man, just go ahead and give him 2 other guys. He's going to be fine. He's going to be absolutely fine. Last thing I want to ask you guys, I know we run a little bit long on this podcast. Last thing I want to ask you guys, you said it about the window of opportunity for the Chargers. You said 2 more years. Do you guys really believe 2 more years? Like for me, I believe when you have a guy like Justin Herbert, I think the window of opportunity as long as Justin Herbert's playing.
I do. Yeah. This draft coming up is going to be huge right here. Who are they going to get? Are they going to keep Ekeler for after this season? Those are the big questions. But as long as we have Justin Herbert, I think there's always a chance to make the playoffs.
As long as we have Herbert, we always have a chance. But as a title chance, it's 2 years. Just because if you look at the Bengals, for example, I'll compare it to the Bengals, how Burrow's like, as long as I'm here, we're always going to have a chance. Burrow's weapons are young weapons. They're all young. So they can continue to grow. Allen's old. Williams is not the youngest guy ever. Ekeler probably have 2 really good years left. Max old. Bosa's old. J.C. Jackson just didn't even play this full season. So the people around is what I'm more worried about. Now, if we had a number 1 wideout that's 25, yeah, I would sit here and say, yeah, but we don't. Like, they're all older. So that's why I think 2. So it's two until they hit the reset of everyone besides Herbert. And it's like, Mac go, Bosa go. Let's try to rebuild this.
Yeah, it's anyway. It'll be interesting to see how smart they are. I believe a lot of things change, man, when you get an offensive coach with a quarterback, I should say, the way Justin Herbert is. And I think the Buffalo Bills are going to see this too, guys. I think the Buffalo Bills are going to fall short next year, and you're going to see McDermott out, and they're going to go, we got to get an offensive guy with Josh Allen. I just think it's the way it's going in the NFL over and over again, on how things are progressing. That defense doesn't win championships. Steelers couldn't do anything, and they had the most expensive defense in the history of the league last year. It's an offensive game. The NFL has made it this way because it's more exciting for the fans to see points on the board, and that's kind of doesn't make any sense to have a defensive head coach. Just my opinion. Andy Reid's like, keep it the way it is, because right now our organization's one of the few that's figured this out. So we'll see. And again, anyway, we'll be back. We'll be back next week. I want someone else coming up with a list. It's no fun sitting on the chopping block. That's for damn sure. We'll have something else for you next week. And again, we'll talk about the rumors, everything that we hear, what's coming up with the draft, because we're about a month away from the NFL draft and where the Chargers are at and what's going to possibly happen. Also, big names possibly moving teams. I mean, here's the deal. We talked about Austin Ekeler, but Derrick Henry possibly moving teams as well, and possibly joining a team that is a Super Bowl contender already. So it's interesting to see, as teams are not done moving their roster around. Does the Aaron Rodgers deal get done sooner than later? We'll get through all that stuff. But again, for Josh Palet, Mario Heron, I'm Dave Palet. Thanks again for listening to the Bolt City podcast, courtesy of Odyssey.